So where do we get the idea that horses want a leader and a bossy or dominant one? We get this idea from people who lead with their ego and their comfort level. It's much easier to use brute force and ignorance instead of taking the time to understand the causes or reasons behind the unwanted behavior. And again, all of our unwanted behavior is from us, you guys. It's from us influencing and teaching our domesticated horses the wrong things. I bring up ignorance as a lack of knowledge because so many horse people base their opinions on just that, a lack of knowledge. And not being educated, it's not an educated understanding supported by fact, science, study, or firsthand experience, which can still be very subjective, unfortunately. So now let's look at our domesticated horses. How many of us have observed wild horse interactions? If you have, you know how different wild horse behavior is compared to our domesticated horses. So you have a barometer. And I'm hoping to show you a barometer by filming all the time around my herds of horses so that you get to see how healthy, well-socialized horses interact, how normal it is, just like being around, healthy kids in a playground. You don't want to see a bully with horses, and you don't want to see a bully with children on the playground. It's the same thing. While wild horses are socialized peacefully and coexist quietly, our domesticated horses are overly emotional, spooky, aggressive, buddy sour, stressed out, and the list goes on. They have so many unwanted behaviors due to, again, unhealthy, unstable environments and influences, which include us, our barn, interactions with other unhealthy situations. Now that we've looked at healthy wild horse dynamics, needs, and behavior and compared it to our domesticated horse, we unfortunately see that we fall short in providing our domesticated horses, again, with a healthy, stress-free environment. Which brings me, it's leading up to my next point or topic, is dominance. So unfortunately, I see time and time again, and my clients, students have experienced this and talked to me about this. Their horses are treated unfairly by other professionals, whether it's vets, farriers, or trainers, or even, owners of the boarding facility or the staff. And they're treated unfairly because, unfortunately, their horse is either misunderstood or they might have an unwanted behavior. And so we just make it worse by treating the horse unfairly. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources, financial resources, educational resources, or time needed to reverse unwanted behaviors. I'm hoping you guys join my courses, especially my Mastery membership program, so that we can change this. Collectively, together, we can start to change this. It's just not fair to our horses. So getting back to dominance. While horses, like all social species, have dominant, submissive, and passive personalities, this does not mean that they are dominant in general or respond well to dominance. So we're talking about the bully again, except here we go to the topic I was bringing up. My focus changed and Blue knew it. When your horse is in a barn and has unwanted behavior and someone doesn't know what to do with it or doesn't care, they unfortunately resort to dominance or bullying or aggression with this horse. And it just makes things get worse, trust me. A typical example, and I get some of this feedback even on my YouTube videos with members that are attracted to my work because of like mind, yet they say some things that just tell me they're not quite there yet. Like, Caroline, you really shouldn't let Sundance pin her ears at Joey in your teaching your horse to back up with light contact YouTube video because she's being disrespectful to you. And I haven't yet addressed this, but I will. No, she's not being disrespectful to me. And even sometimes I get in the middle of it and she scolds me while she's going after the other horse. She's the lead mare. It's not about me. She's trying to tell Joey where he belongs and where he needs to be. And I'm not stepping in like I need to because I'm filming, but if I really thought it was an issue, I would just move Joey out of the whole picture completely. No pun intended. But it's not a big deal, and I want you guys to be able to see the interactions because I want to train your eye to all the subtle nuances and all the subtleties of dialogue that happen, and reading horses' expressions more clearly and correctly. I don't mind Sundance constantly going after Joey. It's about Joey, and she's just protecting me and our space. If it gets too out of control, then I'll step in as a leader and do something about it. But I really want you guys to take a look at that specific video and think about it and watch it, because there's so much going on. And everyone needs to stop generalizing what they see and listening to top professionals trying to generalize it, because either they aren't educated enough themselves or they're just trying to make you feel more comfortable. Meaning, a lot of people don't want to get into the complexities of the psychology of horses. They don't. One, they don't know it well enough. Even our top professionals are top. And two, they don't want to get into it because it's too complicated. And they're just trying to sell you something simple to make you feel comfortable. Look, raising kids isn't easy. Understanding human psychology is not easy. So what makes you think horses are easy? They're not. They're very intelligent and emotionally complex. Yes, we're not done with you in leadership. So, I'm going to keep reading and give you guys an opportunity to watch me show very subtle leadership. I just did. So what I'm going to show you right now is one aspect of leadership, one of many with this horse. It is telling him right with that clock what's acceptable behavior and what's not. I'm not going to sit here and smack him or get rough with them or make him feel like shit, to put it bluntly. And then I make this big horse, who has a tendency to be very unconfident at times, become even more unconfident. And that's what you'll do to these guys. They're that emotionally intelligent. The more you beat this horse up emotionally and make him feel bad about something, this big boy, that's how he came to me at the age of 4. Very dangerous. Ran people over all the time. You're gonna make it worse. So I was just really clear with Zor that I don't want you going past me. We already have that language. We have a great relationship. We've had plenty of experience working together. So he knows the language. I know his language. That's why he's standing here. It's perfect. There's a great demonstration of leadership. Being clear, guiding, not berating, not making him feel less, not making him feel like he doesn't want to be around you. Again, not acceptable. Oh, the gnats are just horrible. Let me fly spray him real quick and I'll put him back in his stall because he's sweating. I'm glad you're sweating, buddy. Because you were not sweating when we moved here last year. Very scary. Again, Zor standing here at Liberty this is a result of my method. It's not a technique like many trainers teach where you beat the horse up or you get rough with them, so that you're not teaching them anything, you guys, except to fear you. To fear the pressure and to fear, I love you too, buddy, to fear you. No, I love you too. If I'm scared of Zor or worried that Zor is going to spook and hurt me, then don't let him into your space. Keep him at a distance. That's how you keep safe. It's just like what I see at the wash rack all the time at the barns that I have visited at my clients. You know, they cross tie the horses. They expect these horses to stand perfectly still for the farrier or for bathing, or even in the aisle for grooming and tacking. And the horse doesn't, so they give him a good smack, or they hit him or they yank on him like this, whether it's with a bit or without a bit. And all you're teaching the horse is to understand the principle that every time he does something normal to him that has a reason, that he better not do it, or he's gonna feel pain and get hurt. I just need to open his stall back up. You wanna lay down, buddy? You can, that's why you have all those shavings. Hi, sweet pea. What do you want? You can come in and out. Your water's over there though. So to wrap this up, so we're talking about dominance. Oh, that feels good. So I'll just back up a little bit. While horses, like all social species, have dominant, submissive, and passive personalities, this does not mean that they are dominant, that they try to dominate us or respond well to dominance. Rather the opposite. Horses have a strong sense of self-preservation, and when they feel threatened or confused, they instinctively react. Most of the time they choose the more passive mode, which is when they freeze and get really quiet and still before they go into before they go into flight mode, excuse me. They'll freeze first. So horses by nature, you guys, are passive. They're followers by nature. They don't like confrontation. They're not aggressive. Of course, we're not talking about stallions or mules or donkeys. We're just talking about geldings and mares. They avoid confrontation unless they're trying to protect their babies. And so that's because horses are hardwired. They freeze first because they are naturally, instinctively predisposed, hardwired to think. You'd never know this if you didn't study wild horses. And our domesticated horses are just emotional messes. He's still an emotional mess. Instead of getting 10 feet tall in here and circling around his stall and then looking out at that t-shirt and then flying back into the corner like he's petrified, if he was emotionally balanced more, he would think about that. Like the baby who has no fear and is really healthy, he would have gone right up to that and been curious, unless he learned from Zor or maybe one of his lead mares like Sundance and Lovey. He would have learned to fear that thing from them. So when we just think, that's what my whole training method is all about, is getting these guys back to who they really are, instinctively in a healthy way, exercising, and it's like a brain game, developing that left side of their brain more so they think more and they don't react. I mean, you see the videos, you can do it. It does work. You can be safe. Nope. So how do we change this dynamic in horse training? How do we? First, by banding together as a community and spreading more awareness. And more importantly, more important than talk is the walk, is doing this work and changing your horses. Collectively, it's going to take a long time, if it ever does, because it takes such a level of awareness and consciousness, and I don't know if we're there yet collectively as a human race, especially when it comes to treating horses like livestock and as if they're not intelligent. And it's really hard. My heart breaks for so many of my students who board their horses in a boarding facility that doesn't support them and doesn't support how they feel about their horse or how they want to train their horse or handle their horse. It's very upsetting, and my heart goes out to all of you. But I do believe we can make a change. I have total faith if we stick together and we keep joining forces. We can change the mindset slowly. Maybe we come up with, boarding facilities that are only for a certain community. Just like we have show barns for hunter jumpers and we have show barns for classical dressage and reining. I know there are some barns out there just for natural horsemanship, but even natural horsemanship gets in a rut, you guys, especially with the leading professionals out there like Clinton Anderson and Pat Pirelli. I think Pat Pirelli is amazing. I think he is a true master, but unfortunately, his work has become so diluted because he's turned himself into a franchise. So unless you learn from Pat directly, you'll never learn you'll never learn it'll just never be the same. You know, you're learning from instructors that will never be as good as him. They can't even hold a candle to him. I know. I've been there and I've experienced it. But the problem is with natural horsemanship is it's too technique based and it's too mechanical. And again, it's a way of marketing to the masses. I'm a marketing professional. That was my other life before I got back into horses, you guys. So it's another way of marketing to the masses to make them more comfortable and to spend their money and buy your product. So listen to your gut. Take your time. Do your research. I love you too. Do your research. I've got my foot on his foot. I don't want you going past that. Pressure. No. Thank you. Yep, that's pretty cool, you guys. And you stay right here with me. It's hot as Hades. He's got 2 fans, but there's no air coming in here. There's more to read, and it will be up on the blog, but I think I've finished. I've said my piece about leadership and dominance and how horses, what they really want, what really motivates them. And it's neither. It's really about becoming a great partner, but having the ability to have awesome leadership capabilities when they're needed. You don't always have to be in control. You don't always have to be in the lead. My work will get you to the point where you have a consensual partnership with your horse, where you actually can share ideas in everything you do. And your horse is going to want to work with you. They're going to want to do those things with you because it feels so good. They feel good in that they find that joy and that relationship in the work. But I have to teach you about that first. Instill it in you, and then you'll make it so much easier and more rewarding for your horse to want to join you. So keep in mind, through all of it, what's most important is the relationship. That's what your horse wants. This is what's going to make him want to be with me. And while he's lazy and more dominant by nature, my job is to figure out, thank you. My job is to figure out what's the best approach for him to want to partner up with me and to want to learn with me. It's not about, Zor, this is a cookie cutter approach and you're going to go into the same. No, he's going to go into the same classroom, the same training curriculum as every other horse. But it's your job to figure out what works best for this guy and understand that the glue that binds everything is called the relationship. Thank you. I look forward to your comments, and may you always be one with your horse.